Hello guys, my name is Gavin, and this will be a simple tutorial on how to model an environment in Blender. We will be doing a few we'll be doing a few things to make this able to be played in the game engine, so the textures will look fine. And I'll just get started. To start off, what you're gonna do is you want to create a new folder. So let's do right click and then new and then folder. And I've already got one right here. I've called it environments folder. And inside of it, you want to get 4 images at least. I've got one that's a sky dome, a brick wall, a box, and a dirt ground. And that's pretty much what we're going to be using for this tutorial, or what I'm going to be using. So once you have those, and you can just get those online, what we're going to do now is in the folder that you created, so whatever your main folder is, mine is the environment folder, you're going to save your Blender file, so file and save. And mine's on the desktop, and it's called environments folder, and I'm just going to save it as Blender project like this, and I'm going to hit save. Alright, so I'm going to hit X on this camera right here and X on this light. Or right click and then hit X and then delete, and then right click and hit X on this cube in the middle. So we should just have an empty file like this. So what I'm going to do now is add a plane, and let's do spacebar and then add a plane like this, like that. And since this plane is pretty small right now, I'm going to hit the editor S and then 10 to scale it up 10 times all over. But now what we're going to do is actually add a texture to it. So down here, but when you scroll down here, wait till 2 arrows show up, then right click and hit split area. So we now have 2 scenes like this, or 2 things like this. I'm then going to do UV image editor on this side, so we should see like this. I'm actually going to rename this plane as floor really quick. So floor like that. And what you're going to do now is go from object mode to edit mode with your plane selected, and do hit the letter U and then unwrap. So we should see there's this little orange square over here. Hit image and then open image, and you should see I'm already in my environments folder. So I'm just going to click on my images thing, and I'm going to hit this one that's called dirt ground texture, or whatever texture you have for your ground. Hit open, and you should see it. My computer takes a while to load. That if you immediately add it, even though it shows up over here, you can't actually see it. So what you're going to do is go from solid view to texture, and you should see there is now a texture on your plane, on your floor. Since I don't really like how kind of grainy this looks, it's kind of large, I'm going to scale over this and hit the letter S and then 2. So you see, it now looks a lot smaller, the individual chunks. And I've actually got a seamless texture, which makes it look a little bit nicer. You can see if you scale it up or down, it should move around on your normal plane, depending on how you want it to look. Alright, I'm going to join the area really quick, and I'm going to go back into object mode like this. But now though, if we hit P to play, you can see it actually does work. That's kind of cool. I wasn't expecting it to. I'm going to try one thing really quick. Alright, that's nice. Alright, what we're now going to do is I'm actually going to go back to default now, and Blender render. What I'm going to do is hit spacebar, and we're going to add a cube into our game. And what we're going to do with this cube is actually make it so that we can have a wooden box texture on it, or whatever texture you want to have for a box. So I'm going to right click and split the area, UV image editor, and go from object mode to edit mode, and make sure that all your sides are selected. So if you hit A, you can deselect everything, and then A will select everything on this cube object. I'm going to hit the letter U and then unwrap, hit image, open image, and inside of my images folder, I'm going to get my cartoon wooden box texture. And we should see that it'll take a second to load. We've now got this box texture in the game. I'm actually going to go back into object mode. You can see if we hit play, the box is going to show up like this. Alright? Actually, I'm going to select this tab, the Blender game right here for a second. And you can see that if I click on the physics tab and add character physics, the box will drop ever like this. And we now got a box on our floor. If you want to copy this box around so that you don't have to individually create objects each time, hit Shift and D to copy it like this. And you can right click and select multiple objects, Shift and D. So we now should have boxes like this. And if I hit play, you can see they all fall on each other like that. Alright? But now what we want to do is have it so that this So we want to have it so that there's now actually a wall around our map. So what we're going to do now is use spacebar, and I'm going to add another cube. This cube will be pretty much empty, or have no textures on it, sorry. And I'm going to go from object mode to edit mode. And I'm going to hit U and unwrap. I can't select this really quick, sorry. Alright. Let's now let's do image and open image. And I'm going to select this brick wall texture, like this. You can see now that there is now on this cube a brick wall texture. I'm going to join the areas really quick. But the thing is, I don't exactly want this like a brick wall should not just be a cube. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit 7 to go in the top view and drag this off to one side. Now I'm going to hit S and scale it on the x-axis. Actually, I'm going to hit S, Y, just a little bit. Hit 7, and we should do S, X, and 5, S, Z, and 5. So that it'll look even like that. So you can now see we have a brick wall that looks like that. I'm going to drag this off just to one side. I might hit S and X just a little bit to scale it out like this. You can see we now have a brick wall. I'm going to hit Shift and D to copy it again and drag this wall off to the other side. And I'm going to shift and right click on the other wall and do Shift and D and hit R, Z, and 90. So we now have walls on all 4 sides. Might actually add a couple more boxes into our game. Like that. So we should see that if we're on the inside, that our map is now going to look like this. It kind of resembles a map, but it's still not incredibly good looking. So what would actually make our map look really good is a sky dome. And if you want to actually find this texture online, just look up Blender and Sky Dome. And you should get an image. I'll actually show you what it looks like. And you should get an image that looks like this. It's a circle sky with some black around the edges. And this will make it good because our sky dome is going to be round. So that'll make it easier for our tutorial. So to make a sky dome, what we're going to do is do spacebar and then add a sphere. A surface sphere in this case. I'm going to drag this up. And really you shouldn't be doing this all in one Blender file, but I'm just doing it for this tutorial. I'm going to hit Z to go into wireframe. And I'm going to go, actually before I do that, I'm going to hit Alt and C to convert it to a mesh, like that. I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to have this face mode selected right here. And what I'm going to do is to completely get rid of all the stuff on the bottom half of the sphere. I'm going to go into Z. I'm going to, actually, before I do that, I'm going to hit the letter B and drag over half of this cube right here. I'm going to hit 1 to go to this side. Hit the letter B as in boy, and then drag over this half of the sphere. And do this for about exactly down the middle on each side. And you want to get have all these faces right here selected. So just the bottom half and not the top. Then what we're going to do is do X and then delete the faces. So the letter X and delete the faces. Okay? Now what we're going to do is just like the other times, let's split so do right click right here once you have the double arrows. Split the area. Let's do UV image editor. And let's go into edit mode for our cube right here. Hit A to select all the faces on our half sphere right here. Do U and unwrap. And do image and open image. And get what you're going to have for your sky dome. And have open image right here. Now, if we were to go into texture mode right here, we can see that this is actually on the outside, but we actually want it on the inside. Actually, let me see if this works. No, it doesn't. All right, what we want to do is in edit mode, we want to hit mesh and do normals and then flip normals. Even though it doesn't seem like it did anything, what's actually going to happen is we're able to see the texture on the inside of the sphere. The reason why this is important is we're going to use this as a sky dome. So I'm going to hit S, and let's say 10 to scale it up 10 times. I'm going to hit 7 to go in the top view. I'm going to drag this over our map like this. I'm going to hit S and 2 again. I'm going to drag this sky dome over our map like this. So if we were to have a camera looking up, so I'm going to go into wireframe by hitting Z. I'm going to add a camera by doing spacebar. Actually, I'll hit 7, spacebar, and then add a camera. I'm going to hit R, X, and then 90. Get our camera looking like this. Let's have our camera be in this corner. Do R and Z like this. So rotate it on the Z axis. And R and let's have X. Actually, I'll hit Control Z a couple times. Hit rotate it on the X axis like this. And then rotate it on the Z axis. So we should see, if we go back into texture mode, we should be able to see our map like this. So if I hit P, we can see that we now got our boxes, our brick wall, and our sphere like that, or our sun in the background. But since the sky is an ever-changing thing, in terms of like movement and stuff, I'm going to right-click on our sky dome, and we're going to have the sky dome rotate. So go from defaults to game logic, and let's stay in Blender game. Let's add an always sensor. Hit those first 3 dots. And let's add a motion sensor. And let's do 0.1. Actually, I'll do 0.5 on the Z-axis. So our sky dome is going to rotate in a circle like this. Drag this off to here. Let's hit 0 to go back into camera mode. And we should see the sky is now rotating like this. Alright guys, so that's how you make a simple environment in Blender. I hope you guys found this useful. I might actually do a couple more angles really quick for our camera, just to show you some other stuff. So if you wanted to have it be like a top-down kind of camera, so rotate it Y, I don't know, maybe like that, on a diagonal camera. Not really sure why, but yeah, you can see that. Alright, so that is a simple environment in Blender, guys. I hope you found this useful.